Have you ever stood at a crossroads with infinite paths, every direction equally possible, equally uncertain? You could go anywhere, become anyone, but instead of excitement, you felt something else. A strange heaviness, the weight of pure possibility crushing down on your chest. This is the paradox of radical freedom. We think we want unlimited choices. We fight for autonomy and self-determination, but when we finally get it, something unexpected happens. The ground disappears beneath us. We realize there's no script to follow anymore. Simone de Beauvoir understood this feeling intimately. She wrote about the vertigo of freedom, the nausea that comes when you realize you're entirely responsible, not just for your actions, but for who you become, for the meaning you create in a meaningless world. Most people never feel this vertigo. They live inside ready-made stories. Their culture tells them who to be. Their family provides the script. Religion offers the answers. They move through life following invisible rails, comfortable, protected, never truly choosing. But some people wake up. The rails disappear. The script stops making sense. They look around and see the constructed nature of everything. All the rules are just agreements. All the meanings are just stories. Nothing is necessary. Everything is chosen. This awakening feels like falling, like the floor opened beneath you. Beauvoir called it confronting the absurd. The world offers no inherent meaning, no cosmic purpose handed down. You are radically free, and that freedom is terrifying. So we invent ways to escape. We create what Beauvoir called bad faith. We pretend we're not free. We say we had no choice. We blame circumstances, genetics, upbringing, anything to avoid the crushing responsibility, anything to make the vertigo stop. We say things like, "That's just how I am," as if our personality were fixed, a biological fact beyond our control. But Beauvoir knew better. You're not a thing with predetermined qualities. You're a process, a constant choosing, an ongoing creation. We hide behind roles. I'm just doing my job. I'm a mother first. This is what men do. We reduce ourselves to functions. Beauvoir watched people become their roles completely, forgetting there's a consciousness underneath, a freedom they are refusing to exercise. We seek absolute rules, rigid moral systems that tell us exactly what to do, black and white thinking, clear boundaries, no ambiguity, because ambiguity requires judgment, judgment requires choice, and choice reminds us we're free, terrifyingly, completely free. Some people choose passivity. They wait for life to happen to them. They let others decide. They drift on currents of circumstance. This feels safer than steering. You can't be blamed for choices you never made. You can't fail at a life you never attempted. Others choose distraction, endless consumption, constant noise, scrolling, watching, consuming, filling every moment so there's no space for the question that haunts free beings: what will you do with this existence? What meaning will you create? Beauvoir saw through all these escapes. She understood why we run from freedom, because freedom is ambiguous. There's no right answer written in the stars, no cosmic authority to consult, just you, your judgment, your responsibility, your irreversible choices echoing forward. She called this the ethics of ambiguity. Life isn't a puzzle with one correct solution. It's a constant improvisation. You're making it up as you go, creating values through your choices, building meaning through your commitments. There's no other way. This sounds liberating in theory. In practice, it's exhausting. Every choice matters because you're choosing who to become. Every action is a statement about what you value. There's no neutral, no default, no just existing. Everything is a commitment. You feel this most acutely in big decisions, career changes, relationships, where to live. You search desperately for the right answer, but Beauvoir would say there isn't one, only the answer you create by choosing, the meaning you forge through commitment. This is why indecision feels so painful. You're not just weighing options, you're confronting your absolute freedom, the fact that nothing external will decide for you. You must choose, and in choosing, you define yourself. You become responsible for who you are. Some people respond with decision paralysis. They research endlessly, seek more information, wait for certainty that never comes, because they're not actually looking for data. They're looking for something to remove their freedom, an authority to choose for them. Others flip-flop constantly. They choose, then unchoose, start things, abandon them, change their mind repeatedly, not because circumstances changed, but because commitment terrifies them. Commitment means accepting limitation. Choosing one path means releasing infinite others. Beauvoir understood this fear. Choosing feels like dying. Every commitment is a small death. You kill the version of yourself who might have chosen differently. You close doors. You limit possibilities. Your infinite potential collapses into finite reality. This is the source of regret, not that you chose wrongly, but that you chose at all. You sealed off other lives you might have lived, other versions of yourself you might have become. The unchosen haunts you, whispers about roads not taken. But here's what Beauvoir knew that changes everything. The alternative to choosing isn't freedom. It's a different kind of prison, the prison of infinite possibility. When everything is possible, nothing is real, you become a ghost, potential without actuality. To be real, you must choose. To have substance, you must commit. This is the paradox she revealed. Freedom isn't the absence of limitation. Freedom is the power to create meaningful limitations, to forge commitments that matter, to build a life from nothing. Authentic freedom means accepting ambiguity, living without guarantees, choosing without certainty. You'll never know if you chose right. There is no right, only the life you create through sustained commitment, only the meaning you generate through action. This requires a different relationship with failure. You will choose wrong sometimes, not because there was a right answer you missed, but because you're improvising existence, making it up, building bridges while walking on them. Failure is inherent to authentic living. Beauvoir rejected the idea of a fixed self. You're not discovering who you really are. You're inventing yourself continuously. Every choice is a brushstroke. Every commitment adds color. You're both the artist and the artwork, the sculptor and the clay. This means you can't blame your past. Your childhood doesn't determine you. Your trauma doesn't define you. They influence you, yes. They shape the materials you work with, but you're always free to reshape, always capable of choosing differently, always responsible. This responsibility feels crushing sometimes. You want to say, I couldn't help it. You want to blame forces beyond your control, but Beauvoir strips away that comfort. You could help it. You can always help it. You're radically free, radically responsible. So what do you do with this freedom? How do you live authentically in ambiguity? Beauvoir's answer was surprisingly simple. You commit anyway. You choose knowing there's no guarantee. You act without certainty. You create meaning through sustained engagement. Authentic commitment isn't blind faith. It's clear-eyed acceptance. You know you're choosing without absolute justification. You know the ground is shaky. You know you might be wrong, but you commit anyway. You pour yourself into projects that matter to you. This is how you escape the paralysis of infinite freedom, not by denying your freedom, but by using it, by transforming possibility into actuality, by choosing limitations that create meaning. The pianist who practices scales, the writer who finishes the novel. Beauvoir lived this way. She committed to writing knowing literature has no inherent purpose. She committed to relationships knowing love has no cosmic meaning. She committed to political action knowing history has no predetermined arc. She created meaning through commitment. The ambiguity never goes away. You never achieve certainty. You never escape the vertigo of freedom, but you learn to live with it. You learn to choose despite it. You learn that meaning isn't found. It's forged through action, through commitment, through you. This is why authenticity is so difficult. It requires constant vigilance. You must watch yourself for bad faith, for the subtle ways you pretend you're not choosing, for the moments you hide behind roles or rules, for the times you blame circumstances. Beauvoir knew we can never be perfectly authentic. We slip into bad faith constantly. It's easier, more comfortable, less demanding. The point isn't perfection. The point is awareness, catching yourself, returning to authenticity, choosing again, always choosing again. The ethics of ambiguity changes how you judge yourself. You can't condemn yourself for choosing wrong because there was no right, but you can condemn yourself for not choosing, for fleeing your freedom, for pretending you're not responsible, for living in bad faith. It also changes how you judge others. You can't demand they follow your path. Your commitments aren't universal laws. Your meanings aren't cosmic truths. They are yours, created by you, for you. Others must forge their own meanings. That's what freedom means. But Beauvoir wasn't a relativist. Some choices do oppress freedom. When you deny others their freedom, you're acting in bad faith. When you impose your meaning as universal law, you're fleeing ambiguity. Authentic ethics respects the freedom of all conscious beings. This creates tension. You must commit to your values, but you can't impose them absolutely. You must act with conviction, but you must remain open to ambiguity. You must create meaning, but you must acknowledge it's created, not discovered. This tension never resolves. Living this way is exhausting, always choosing, always responsible, always aware of your freedom. No wonder people flee into bad faith. No wonder we create illusions of necessity. No wonder we hide behind roles and rules. Authentic freedom is a burden, but it's also the only path to genuine existence. Beauvoir believed we're not really alive when we flee our freedom. We're playing dead, pretending to be things instead of consciousness. The rock doesn't choose. The tree doesn't agonize, but you do. That's your burden and your glory. So what does this mean practically? How do you live the ethics of ambiguity? First, you stop waiting for permission. Stop seeking the right answer. Stop looking for guarantees. You accept that you must choose without certainty, and then you choose. Second, you own your choices completely. No blaming circumstances. No, I had no choice. You always have a choice. Even choosing not to choose is a choice. Even following others is choosing to follow. Own it. Accept it. Bear the weight. Third, you commit without demanding certainty. You pour yourself into relationships knowing they might end. You pursue careers knowing you might fail. You create art knowing it might be meaningless. You commit anyway. That's what creates meaning, the commitment itself. Fourth, you watch for bad faith. When you catch yourself saying, I can't help it, question that. When you hide behind that's just who I am, push deeper. When you blame your past or your circumstances, ask, am I fleeing my freedom? Am I pretending not to choose? Fifth, you respect others' freedom. You don't impose your meanings. You don't demand they follow your path. You don't reduce them to objects serving your projects. You recognize them as equally free, equally burdened, equally responsible for creating meaning. Sixth, you embrace ambiguity. Stop seeking black and white answers. Stop demanding moral certainty. Life is gray. Choices are complex. Consequences are unpredictable. You must judge anyway. You must act anyway. But you act knowing you might be wrong. Knowing ambiguity is the human condition. This way of living changes you. You become more honest, less defensive. You stop needing to justify yourself with absolute reasons. You stop comparing yourself to others' paths. You focus on your commitments, your choices, your meaning, the life you're forging from nothing. You become more compassionate too. When you accept your own freedom, you see others' struggles differently. You recognize their fear, their flight into bad faith, their desperate search for certainty. You've felt it too. You still feel it. The vertigo never completely goes away. But you also become more demanding of yourself and others. You can't accept excuses anymore, not from yourself, not from anyone. You've seen through the illusions. You know everyone is free, everyone is choosing, everyone is responsible, even when they pretend otherwise. Beauvoir's philosophy is uncomfortable. It offers no comfort, no cosmic parent watching over you, no predetermined purpose, no guaranteed meaning, just you, your freedom, your responsibility, your choices echoing forward into a future you're creating with every action. But in that discomfort lies liberation. You're not a fixed thing, you're not determined by your past, you're not limited by your nature. You're free, radically, terrifyingly free, free to become, free to create, free to forge meaning in a meaningless universe. The vertigo doesn't go away, the ambiguity remains, the uncertainty persists, but you learn to dance with it, you learn to choose despite it, you learn to commit without guarantees, you learn to create meaning knowing it's created, you learn to live authentically. This is Beauvoir's gift, not a solution to the problem of freedom, but a framework for living with it, for accepting your responsibility, for embracing ambiguity, for creating meaning through commitment, for becoming authentically human, for choosing again and again and again. So when you feel paralyzed by freedom, remember this. The paralysis comes from seeking certainty that doesn't exist, from wanting guarantees the universe won't provide, from fleeing the responsibility inherent in consciousness. The cure isn't finding the right answer, it's accepting there isn't one. And then, despite the absence of certainty, you choose, you commit, you build, you create meaning through sustained engagement with projects that matter to you, not because they're objectively important, but because you make them important, through your freedom, through your choice. The burden of freedom never fully lifts. You carry it always, but you learn to carry it with grace, with acceptance, with courage. You learn that the burden is also your dignity, your consciousness, your humanity. You learn to say yes to the weight, yes to the vertigo, yes to being free.